We will start in a few minutes here. Good evening. Welcome to the City of Douglasville Planning Commission meeting. I am Francisco Artley, the chairman of the Planning Commission. The other members on the Planning Commission are Keith Burnett, the vice chair, Natalie Fegan, Nathan Zachary, Ralph Benton, and Mark Van. Staff members are Shayla Reed, Community Development Director, Dana Gray, Senior Planner, Chelsea Tubbs, Planner 1, and Lynn Woodward, who is sitting in for the attorney. There are a few protocol items I need to make you aware of before we start the meeting. Please listen closely on how tonight's meeting will be conducted. Keep your comments and presentation on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this commission to make its decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You will receive a warning from the chair if you deviate from this requirement. A second deviation will result in your request to leave the meeting and the premises for the evening. Refrain from any applause or comments from the audience. Only one person will be talking at a time, and all comments will be made at the podium after the speaker has been recognized by the chair. Please direct all comments to the chair and the commission, not to the audience or the staff. Please do not applaud or react to speakers. Speak from the audience, cheer, carry on a conversation with others in the audience, or disrupt the order of this meeting in any way. Be aware that these hearings are not a debate or an opportunity to ask questions which must be answered by any individual tonight, but are merely an opportunity to present information to the commission. Other than the applicant, no person may speak more than once. The applicant may reserve part of their speaking time as a rebuttal and may speak next and last and may use the entire 20 minutes allotted for the pro side of the application. Other than the applicant, no person may speak longer than 5 minutes. If you have a cell phone or any other electronic device, I ask that you either power them off or put them on silent mode. If anyone wishes to speak tonight, please fill out a form available on the table up front and hand it to the staff before approaching the podium. After the case is called, we will hear next from the staff regarding any relevant information to this case. The commission members will be free to ask any questions at any time before the vote on a project. Following the applicant, anyone who wishes to speak for or against the project or just ask questions will have an opportunity to do so. The city ordinance restricts each side to a maximum of 20 minutes, or time may be waived at the discretion of the presiding official. If questions are raised, we may ask the applicant to speak again. Afterward, we will call for a motion and a second, have any necessary discussion, and if the matter is not tabled, we will vote to recommend approval or denial of the application. This commission is only a recommending body. The items will be heard by the mayor and the council whether we recommend approval or recommend denial. Unless tabled, all items will be heard by the city's mayor and council at their legislative meeting on Thursday, October 3rd, and then voted upon by them at their meeting on the following Monday, October 7th. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from August 6th. Is there any need for discussion? Do I have a recommendation?
I recommend we approve minutes from August meeting.
All right. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion is passed and the minutes are approved for August 6th. Is there any old business? Nope. All right. The first case is item 24-311. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from R2 Single Family Residential Detached District and PUD Planned Unit Development District to PUD Planned Unit Development District 4, plus or minus 116.104 acres, located on Brook Hollow Drive and Land Lot 77, District 1, Section 5, Parcel ID 007701500014 and 007701501996, and Land Lot 78, District 1, Section 5, Parcel ID 0078015051 and 007801505152. Application by Abdel Mohammed Al Husani. Staff will now present the item.
Good evening, Commissioners. As stated, this is a request for a rezoning of R2 PUD to PUD with conditions to create zoning consistency for an existing development in the Brookmont subdivision. The applicant is in the process of completing the subdivision with new homes. The applicant is also requesting to add a condition for facade materials which allows for the same building materials that were required in the previous code in 2019. The previous developed homes of the subdivision fell under a different code than those of today. So in 2019, the requirement for materials was brick, stone, cementitious siding, not to exceed 75%. The current code requires for new homes to be constructed with brick not less than 25% on each and every side for the PU zoning. The applicant is requesting to use the previous rules to be used for the current development. The materials for the front that the applicant is proposing would be constructed with brick, stucco, cementitious, and hardy plank siding, and the other three sides will be cementitious and hardy plank to maintain the continuity of the existing homes. So staff understands that the applicant has a challenge to meet the new standards, yet keep the consistency and the harmony of the existing homes, which has initiated this zoning. So as part of your review, staff does recommend this condition, and the condition will read as follows. The Brookmont development shall be exempt from building material requirements from section 4.03.H.2 of the current code for single-family homes in a PUD. And that concludes, and the applicant is present.
All right. Because I remember when the applicant came for this, when was that before the commission? It was like about a year or two ago, wasn't it?
I do believe,
It was February of 2022.
Okay. And when did the code change?
that would be in 2022.
Okay, so right after he came,
Yes,
the code changed.
yes.
Does anyone have questions for the staff?
How many existing homes are in the other part of the development?
It was approximately 217.
Okay.
Can you read the code prior to the change?
Okay. So in 219, the code materials required brick, stone, and cementous siding not to exceed 75%. So he was essentially able to do a combination of those materials at that time, and that's what the previous homes are basically designed for right now.
Wow. All right, any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Good evening, gentlemen, and good evening, citizen. My name is Abdel Mahdi Al Husseini. I live in 2860 Legion Lake Road, Douglasville, Georgia, 30135. Chelsea, do I have? Oh, you got it there? Thank you. All right. As you can see, we have about 116 acres located somehow off Chapel Hill. And this is really a very nice piece of land. Originally, it used to be a part of the estate section, and we are trying to move it into a different section within Brookmount. Brookmount consists of about 7 different villages, from townhomes, from starting home, all the way to go to the estate where we have 4,000 square feet, 5,500 square feet. And this one, we would like to take it away from the estate section into other 2 sections. We call them the cottages and the meadows. And the whole reason behind that, really a couple of reasons. Number one, the president of the HOA, Oric Corey, that unfortunately has not been with us, but we have our friend from the HOA. And he told me, Mahdi, we need affordable homes. Because if we are going to keep them with the estate section, that I already have 64 lots, and they're going to be between $850,000 to $1 million. And therefore, adding another 140, 150 lot to the estate lot, then it's going to be very hard for me to sell them, number one. Number two, they're going to be expensive. And Eric Corey, he is a visionary young man, and he believes in the community. And he's, we sit down and say, Mahdi, why not to make them like the other villages? And we took the idea from there. And then we came here, as you can see, and we got already the approval from the mayor and the city council to go ahead and move them from the estate section into the other 2 sections. Now, this is what we already have here, as you can see. This 116 acres consists of 4 different properties. We have the orange one over there, and we have the green, and then we have the yellow, and then we have the, if I call it, pink, and the bottom down there. Now, you heard the word R2, right? Now, the R2 only applicable to these 2 small, the yellow one and the gray one. And these 2, they are going to be left green space. We're not going to touch them because as a buffer, all right, from the previous section. So therefore, we're not changing anything, to be honest with you, from zoning. But as you know, when we're going to file for the final plat, all these 4 properties will be combined together. And that's why we added the word R2 to BDU. But for the 2 properties for the R2, they're not going to be really, we're not going to build on them. But as you can see from here, we are going to exceed the city requirement and also the HOA requirement. And also we're going to leave 65 lots, 65 acres of the total area to be a green space, which is roughly 57% of the development, we're going to leave it as a green space. And then we're going to have walking trails, and we're going to build really very good amenities over there. We already have the clubhouse there. We already have the swimming pool. We already have the tennis court, but we're going to add a dog park and community garden over there to enhance the overall community. Now, this is some of the, the houses we're going to build. Three of these lots, they are going to be estate lot, and we're going to continue to meet the requirement where we're going to have four-sided bricks, and we're going to have 4,000 square feet if we're going to be in a slab, and 5,500 square feet we're going to have them in a basement. So therefore, we are much really exceeding the city requirement. But what we are asking here, as my friend Donna explained here, we would like to have your support here, and instead of having 25% brick in every side on the four sides, we would like to have a combination of brick, stone in the front, and also we would like to leave the rest as what we already have. And this is an example of what we currently have in the community. And this is what you can see from the amenities, the existing amenities on the left-hand side, and the future one on the right-hand side. So this is really, in the nutshell, what I'm asking here, because as you mentioned earlier, Francisco, that we already got the approval, right, from a zoning perspective. And it just happened, changed, from how the facade materials is really required. And we are looking forward, and we are asking for your support, really, is to get your approval to use the same facade materials that already been used in the communities, and to keep the harmony and consistency over there and the value of the homes. And when you go to the modules, you can see all of them, very much similar to each other. And we are really committed, to do whatever is needed, to exceed and to meet the requirement of the HOA requirements, and also to work with you so we can build these 217 homes. And as you can see, I'm partnering with D.R. Horton, that they're already building in the city, especially in the tributary, as an example. And this is what I really need your help and support about that. It's just to keep the same materials that we are currently we are using, and we would love to keep the same harmony and the same look for what we're going to build. Thank you for giving this opportunity to explain to you what we're looking for. And I have a representative here from the HOA, if you would like to give them the chance to come in front of you. If you have any question that I can, be able to answer them for
Are
you.
there any questions from the board?
None for me.
You. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, Donna. Thank you, Donna.
If I may, I apologize, I gave the wrong date as 2022. When it changed, it was actually 2019. Apologize for that.
So okay, he came before the board in 2022, but the new code that he wants to be exempt from changed in 2019.
Yes.
So then why didn't he want to be exempt from it back in?
Well, because he built the majority of the development already, and things changed in between that.
Yeah, it was just a lag in time.
Right.
Okay. I mean, 3 years later,
Yeah, but he had already built them. They were just sitting.
no, yeah, I know, he built other ones, but this is a whole new section. So I'm thinking the code should have known the codes if they had changed or not before he came before us. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, to make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Alan Dickerson. I live at 5068 Irvine Drive, Douglasville, Georgia, 30135. I am a resident in the villages of Brookmont and the vice president of the Homeowners Association. And I am here in support of using the materials that are currently used in our subdivision as presented by Mr. Matty, of using brick or stone in the front and having the three sides of the cementous materials to keep consistency and harmony within our community as far as our look is concerned.
Okay. Is there a question?
Yes, how many meetings, neighborhood meetings have taken place
How many neighborhood meetings
Well, with-
or HOA meetings?
with the developer?
With the developer, we've had a few meetings with the developer, some on the record, some off the record. But the HOA committee, the board, we meet once a month in person, and we meet weekly on our online platform.
Okay, so the neighborhoods had enough time to provide feedback?
We have put that information out on our communication platforms via our social media and our mass texting that goes out to the neighborhood to involve them. We actually have a few people from our neighborhood here. If they like to stand, I don't know if that's appropriate or necessary, but yes, that information has gone out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. She does. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? All right. Is there anyone who'd like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. All right. Is there any need for further discussion on this? All right. Do I have a motion regarding this application?
I'll make a motion to approve item 24-311.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion passes and the application is recommended for approval and will be heard by the legislative, the mayor and city council's legislative meeting on Thursday, October 3rd, and then voted on it on Monday, October 7th. Oh, tongue tie. Thank you, sir. The second case is item 24-310. Hold a public hearing to consider a request for a change in zoning from GC General Commercial, PSP Public Semi-Public, and PUD Planned Unit Development to PUD Planned Unit Development for plus or minus 82.20 acres located at intersection of Rose Avenue and Bill Arp Road in Land Lot 161, District 2, Section 5, parcel ID 016-102-50017 and 016-102-50043, and Land Lot 162, District 2, Section 5, parcel ID 016-202-50029. Application by DRB Group of Georgia. Just before,
Great.
I was just waiting for them to
I'm sorry.
leave. All right. Staff will now present the item.
Great. Good evening again. Dana Gray, 6695 Church Street. This is a request for zoning of general commercial, which is GC, PUD, Planned Unit Development, and PSP, Public Semi-Public, to PUD, Planned Unit Development, located on Highway 5 and Rose Avenue. This development proposal is for 793 units consisting of a combination of 336 apartments and 457 townhomes. The proposal complies with the comprehensive plan's mixed-use design character area. They are providing amenities for the apartments and amenities for the townhomes. The surrounding zonings are general commercial and PUD, which consists of single-family homes, and PSP, which is a school, which is to the west. To the north is PUD with single-family homes, and R2 with single-family homes, and PUD with apartments and general commercial, which is to the southwest, which is across Highway 5. And last is to the east, we have regional marketplace and general commercial. So staff has found concerns regarding school capacity and travel levels in that area. In regards to schools, we have received comments from Douglas County School System, which are shared with you in the memo we provided. In addition, there will be additional information prior to the October 3rd council meeting. In regards to traffic, the city is undertaking a traffic study on Highway 5. We will have more information on that study as well for the October council meeting. And that concludes my report, and the applicant is here.
The October council meeting or the October planning meeting?
The October mayor and council meeting.
Are there any other questions for staff? Mike,
So
go
there's
ahead.
no traffic study now. It's underway.
Yes, it's underway. Yes, correct.
And then the school is still looking at the, I guess, the capacity for, because which schools will that affect?
I don't know the names, but there is one to the west of the subdivision, and I can provide that information for you of the other schools that'll be affected.
So then, my question is, do we proceed if we're still waiting for the city to do their travel study and with the schools concerned? I mean, does anyone recommend that we table this until next month, or we proceed without all of the information?
I'd love to hear what some folks have to say.
However, it is your option.
To see what they have to say, and then we can
Both,
decide
both,
whether we
yes.
want to table it or not?
You still have to proceed with the meeting.
All right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, please hold your comments. Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Good evening, Chairman. It's a little taller than me. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jessica Hill, and I'm counsel representing the applicant, DRB Group. I'm also joined by Carrie Smith, who is with DRB Group. And we do have a presentation, if you can pull that up on the screen. Oh, is it clicking? Oh, great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, well, let's get started. Let's give you a project overview. So here is a bird's eye view of the site. It is located at the corner of Rose Avenue and Bill Arp Road. Let's see if I've got I do. You've got Bill Arp Road, Rose Avenue. It's just over 82 acres, currently vacant. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. The property is currently vacant. The majority of it is zoned general commercial. The proposal, as you can see on the plan, is a mix of market rate owner-occupied townhomes. There are 457 of those and 336 multifamily apartments. Looking at the surrounding uses, Mr. Gray provided some of this information, but as you can see, again, the red is general commercial. There's a small strip of the property that is zoned PSP, and then to the west, there is a small portion that's PUD. And we are surrounded by general commercial, PUD, PSP, so similar land uses, and obviously more intense as you head south and east. This is a slide that just shows the distance between the various uses. I think notably along the back, we have a 100-foot buffer adjoining the single-family homes, and it's about 160 feet actually from home to home. Between those two. To the west, there's about 175 feet between building to building. On Rose Avenue, it's about 40 feet to the frontage. We'll go here. Surrounding subdivision density, this project is 9.65 units per acre. The Park West Apartments and the Rocky Ridge Apartments, both located, one immediately adjoining and one just to the south, are denser than this project is proposed to be. And then as you extend north, you get into less dense single-family and townhomes. Again, the Fairways and West Chase Townhomes and Rosewood. Traffic impacts, there has been a traffic impact study done for this project. It's not done by the city, but there was one done by the applicant. It had, because of the project size, this project had to go through a development of regional impact. So it has been reviewed and recommended by Atlanta Regional Commission and Greta. One thing to note, just from a density perspective, the current zoning, just to leave it as is, daily trips under GC, GC has a maximum square footage of 500,000 square feet, which could certainly be developed on this site. It creates 19,000 two-way trips on the site. The proposal in front of you is 5,662 daily trips. So a pretty remarkable reduction in what is allowed. I'm going to go to the next slide because this one's a little bit easier. So there are two access points to this site, one from Bill Arp, which is the one on the left, and then one on Rose Avenue, which aligns at the traffic signal and the intersection. The one on the left, the Bill Arp Road, will be one entering lane, two exiting lanes, no left turn in, and then an added right turn lane going into the driveway. And there will be pedestrian crosswalks, pedestrian signals included. On Rose Avenue, the driveway is your typical driveway, one way in, one way out. It's at a traffic signal. There will be signal upgrades to allow that access, and there will be left and right turn lanes into the project. So that will occur on Rose Avenue. And again, pedestrian crosswalks, pedestrian signals. Additionally, there will be a 5-foot sidewalk and streetlights on the exterior of the project as well as interior to the project. And something we were asked as part of the DRI review was to coordinate with Connect Douglas to add a bus stop somewhere nearby. We don't know where that's going to go, but we are coordinating to try and facilitate that. I'm going to turn it over to Carrie to talk to you a little about the market examples.
Good evening, members of the commission. Thank you for having us this evening. My name is Carrie Smith. I'm a land acquisition manager with DRB Group Georgia. Address is 55 Ivan Allen Jr. Boulevard, Atlanta, Georgia. One thing before we jump into our proposal for product, we know that this site had gone through an attempted rezoning for a heavy industrial use, and we were very sensitive to that as we crafted our design and our proposal. And our aim from the beginning has been to deliver a variety of housing products at attainable price points such that more people have access to home ownership in an increasingly desirable location, as we all know Douglas is. So I'm going to quickly walk through our findings, both in the market and what we anticipate to offer. So the first thing we wanted to take a look at is what existing townhome product is selling in the market. We found that it's highly analogous, mostly front-loaded two-story product with Villages at Brookmont, Laurelwood, and Park Center Point actively selling today. Notably, Laurelwood does incorporate both one-car front-loaded garages as well as two-car front-loaded garages. The square footages for the comparable communities range from 1,400 to 2,100 square feet and sell between 330,000 to 415,000. As for the multifamily apartments, Jessica mentioned both of these earlier. One is adjacent to our site on the west, and one is across Bill Arp. Park West and Rocky Ridge were both built in the early 2000s. I think they were both constructed in 2002. Garden-style suburban multifamily residences that rent for between $1,500 and $1,600 a month on average. So as we took our pen to paper on what type of product we wanted to offer, we started with the townhomes because that's our bread and butter. We're a home builder. And the first product that we identified as desirable in this location is definitely our Litchfield plan, which is a one-car front-loaded two-story townhome product. These would be fee simple, market rate, anticipated to start in the low 300s, probably 315 to 330 in selling price, and the square footage for these is 1,400 to 1,500 square feet. This is an alternate representation. Also want to speak to the materials. We do anticipate using a mix of board and batten, shake, masonry, and hardy plank to provide architectural cohesion and an overall aesthetic that would be governed by the HOA. This is our second product that we're proposing, which is our Luca plan. It's a two-story, two-car front-loaded townhome product. And these range in 1,800 to 1,900, or 1,800 to 2,000 square feet, sorry. and they would be selling from about $330,000 to $350,000. As for the apartments, we are not an apartment operator, but we do have an affiliated entity that worked with us on this proposal, and this is similar in style to what they would propose in this location. Garden style, 3 or 4 story residential structures with a high level of amenity. I also want to speak to, under our current proposal, there would be 2 separate amenity offerings. There would be one that would be managed by the HOA for the townhomes separately, and we're planning on programming a pool with a cabana, multiple dog parks, pocket parks, passive recreation areas with fire pits and grilling stations, and we've also designed walking trails throughout the site as well as sidewalks. Just a little bit of data on, how our apartment affiliate might program the unit mix, weighted about 50-50 between 1 bedroom and 2 and 3 bedroom. And then this is just an analysis of comps in the market showing that average market rents are about $1,600, and our partner is proposing between $1,700 and $1,800 as a price point for those apartments. So that being said, just want to thank you again for your consideration, and we'll take any questions you have.
Are there any questions from the members?
Yes, I had a couple of questions. One, you spoke to some numbers about numbers of trips. What traffic study that, I know the city hadn't performed yet, so how do you arrive at those numbers that you gave us about the number of trips?
Certainly, and then our traffic engineer is here as well, Nasser. He can answer specific questions about the traffic study. But because of the number of units, we had to do a traffic study that has been submitted to the city as part of the zoning process. And the city and the county were both involved in the development of regional impact process, so they got to review the traffic study. But ultimately, the Atlanta Regional Commission and the Georgia Regional Transportation Authority, they govern the process and they make the ultimate recommendations on there. So they solicit feedback from everybody. They solicit feedback on bus routes, they solicit feedback from the local government. It's not a community feedback, so there's not a community aspect to it, but all of the impacted local governments and state agencies are all included in that discussion. And the trips that were indicated, those are generated by the proposed use. So you take the 793 units, and there's a factor that you do as far as the number of daily trips that's going to generate. The same thing is true for general commercial. You can come up with that number. There's a standardized factor. But there were, as part of the traffic study, there are traffic counts taken, there are intersections studied. There were no road improvements necessary generated by this particular project as a part of that study, and that's consistent with the findings by the state. But again, I'm happy to keep looking back at Nasser. He can answer any questions about the specifics of the traffic study.
Yeah, I was trying to understand if this was just a generalization using a formula, or did you actually have a traffic study, of course, that was performed, and that was based on the study?
There was a study based on this particular location with traffic counts taken at these particular locations and intersections around this site, and it was formulated based on this particular site.
So it's a guesstimate of, because I kind of wonder with that too, because I know you guys did the study, and I'm thinking cars coming in and out of that area, that's a very high traveled area. And with the trucks and the commercial, and then you're going to add 733, I think it was units, 93 units, and school trips, buses, deliveries, other businesses coming in and out. I know you had said it was, a reduction, it's only 5,662, but you're adding 5,000, estimate 5,000 more, 6,000, 7,000 more on that road right there, and it's a very highly traveled area, so I kind of wondered. I'd definitely be interested to see what the city says, especially the school system, because of the capacity of the schools in those areas. I mean, you're going to be adding a lot to that area. Are there any other questions from the board?
Not at this time.
I just had one other question pertaining to, said there was no left turn into the project or the complex, I guess southbound on Highway 5.
Yes.
So that's going to force traffic to have to use Rose Avenue or come from Interstate 20 or,
Or force them to do U's.
yeah, it's
Oh,
going to
U-turn.
force the traffic to reroute. Like if they visiting or coming down from that side, they won't be able to turn, so they'll have to go all the way back around, go through Rose Avenue, or go up and make a U-turn, you know, something to that effect. So I was just curious about what decision that was. Was that part of the estimated traffic study, or some, or was it arrived at by some other decision?
It was part of the traffic study. I'm going to let Nasser, if you can come up here, and he can explain to you how the decision was made to propose no left turn in. They studied the traffic going in and out and around and push and pull on everything to figure out what makes the most sense from a traffic perspective for the whole network. But Nasser, if you want to explain.
Good evening. My name is Nasser Omar, and I'm from A&R Engineering, and I was the one who performed the traffic impact study. Can I have the question one more time, please?
So it was the left turn, there's no left turn for southbound traffic into the complex.
That is correct.
So that's going to reroute traffic from those people coming from that direction down Rose Avenue, or they'll have to go around and come back in some sort of way to make themselves come northbound in order to enter the project.
Yes,
So
that-
that's going to have another impact into other routes. So I was just trying to see how it was derived that was the best option for that.
Yeah, they will go further south and turn left on Rose Avenue. And the reason that left in was prohibited because there's another development across from the road, and they have a left turn lane of their own, the northbound. So to avoid the conflict between that left turn lane and the left turn lane into this development, the left in was eliminated. And the distribution of the traffic based on the geographic location of this development, there are very few cars will be coming from north. Majority of them will be coming from I-20, so the impact will not be that high. We have the distributions here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just looking, based on Bright Star Elementary School coming there. Huh? Yeah, that's going, yeah, back the Bright Star corridor, because I can see them using that as their main, going to school back and forth. All right. Are there any other questions? Yes, sir.
If I may add a couple of notes. Staff did meet with Greta, who performed the DRI, and staff wasn't in agreement with this assessment, and at that time, they said they would address the concerns during the rezoning. So staff does believe that the assessment and that the concerns that the school represents would be good to have. And I also have the list of the schools in that area, which I should be able to pull up. Bear with me one moment. All right, so the schools in that immediate area are Bright Star Elementary, Douglas County High, and Chestnut Log Middle School.
Right. Okay. All right. All right, thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address.
Good evening, Chairman and council members, and thank you for your questions that you've asked, because you've echoed a lot of the questions that I had written down that I wanted to bring up to you. My name is Laurie Fulton. I live at 5317 Slater Mill Circle, Douglasville. And your initial thoughts about tabling this until you had complete information from the school system and from the traffic study, I would applaud at a minimum that you postpone until you have all the information at your hands to know how it impacts. The left turn, no left turn into it, we have seen in other places how well that does not work. And I think most particularly of the shopping center of Kohl's. I have friends who live in the residential section across the street, and they tell me all the time about how many people go ahead and make an inappropriate turn into that subdivision, or into that shopping center, excuse me. And I can see the same thing, happening here, and it's a real traffic hazard when people go against what the rules, as we know nowadays, people don't follow the traffic rules like we used to. The school impact is incredible. I just can't imagine 793 additional units being put in that area, and the impact, the intersection of, I don't know the name of the road that goes into the Sam's and Walmart, is just already a nightmare trying to get through there. So adding this many more units to that area just does not make sense to me.
Starla Street.
Pardon me?
Starla Street.
Starla, okay.
Yep, Concourse Parkway. Yep,
Yeah,
that's that right there.
So, and is there any plan to widen the road from Rose Avenue down to Bankhead Highway? As I believe that's still just a 2-lane road, which there's going to be people using that to come into downtown Douglasville and so forth. We know how long it took to get the bypass around Douglasville to ease traffic. I just can't imagine how long it might take to get that section of road to go from 2-lane to 5-lane. That needs to be done. So I appreciate your concern and take all of those traffic considerations.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak other than in favor?
Yes. Hi, thank you for the time to speak. Thank you to the committee chair and committee members. And I'm also not in favor. My name is Naomi Jones. I'm vice president of a HOA at Rosewood Community. And we have definite concerns about the amount of traffic. They said that this is in compliance with the use of residential area, but mostly what's over there is residential single-family homes. And I feel that this high concentration of 793, if you even take 4 people per household, you're going to end up with almost 3,500 people that now have to have cars. They're talking about only 1 garage for these homeowners, which means they're going to park on the street. They reference Laurenwood. The streets over there are so small that 2 cars can barely pass each other, let alone that people would now have to probably park on the street. When you come into Rose Avenue, as the previous person just said, it's only a 2-lane street. So now you're going to have, and they only have 2 entrance and exits, one on Billard and one on Rose Avenue. We already have the Fairways, Rosewood, and all the traffic that runs up and down. And we've already had accidents with people running into our fence just with the traffic it is now. From my home in Rosewood, it takes 4.5 minutes on a good day to try to just get to I-20 because you have to turn onto Highway 5. You're met with the traffic from Academy, the truck traffic from Academy and from Walmart, making all of those turns, backing everything up. When they say that it's only going to have an exponential growth rate of traffic of 2%, I don't see how you put 4,000 or 5,000 people in there and you're only going to raise traffic 2%. We already have 2 apartment complexes, and we did have a meeting with them, and we asked, why can't you just do single-family homes, which is congruent pretty much with what's happening on Rose Avenue. And they basically said that that wasn't financially feasible for them. I feel that this also decreases our value. Since this project has been proposed, we have seen a lot of turnover in Rosewood because people are nervous that their value is going to go down because it's just going to be a lot of people. I believe that the mention of the schools overcrowding is important, and also you have to put into this mix now, you're going to have school buses that additionally need to go to take care of these 793 homes. It also backs up, which we had a concern, some of our homeowners have a concern of it backing up right to the fences and the dividing line of Rosewood, which they already have some problems. People have expressed some problems with people coming from the other apartment complex and coming around, crossing the fence to come through our community. With backing up this many people we feel that it's going to be more of a problem with people crossing to not want to go out and try to find a different way to walk out. As she said, there was no bus stop. We already have 2 apartment complexes that are right there on Highway 5. Let's see, the exit, the resale value, and also looking at just the overall congestion. We have the golf course that's right across the street coming out where they are proposing the entrance to Rose Avenue. And we just feel that it's not congruent with the lifestyle that we came to live with in our communities, with the Fairways and with Rosewood, and with all of the private homes that are around there. In order to avoid having to go to I-20, now people will also be forced to go down to Veterans. And I see that they said there'll be no impact, there's no railroad nearby. There is a railroad nearby.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Time's up.
And that's going to increase traffic on Veterans Highway, so thank you for your time.
I just want to ask her one question. What is the value of your homes in your subdivision?
400,000 to 600,000.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak other than in favor? Please come forward.
My name is Cindy Welch. I live at 3002 Concord Way, Douglasville. I have a question. Did they say that on Rose Avenue that there would not be a left turn lane?
Yes.
Into the neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay, so that means that anyone that's
Coming
sitting...
from the south, right?
No, it's Highway 5.
Highway 5, I'm sorry. For Highway 5, I'm sorry.
Yeah, from Highway 5.
Thank you.
So if people are sitting there waiting to turn left, they're going to back up onto Highway 5, back up way down to where I-20 gets off on Highway 5. That's going to be a nightmare. And, you know, they really need to think about a left turn lane. I think that would help it immensely. But that's the main thing that oh, and then they were saying the school. Would the middle school not be Stewart Middle School? Chestnut Log is a long ways from this property.
Yeah, we'd have to check that out. It could be
Okay.
Stewart Middle. It could be one of those two, but
Okay,
all right.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cindy. Is there anyone else who would like to speak other than in favor? All right. Does the board have any more questions for the applicant?
Go for it.
No questions? Do you?
I don't really have any questions for the applicant.
All right. Does the board have any questions for staff, or is there any need for further discussion?
I think just the general consensus is that it's just extremely dense, and that, you know, things that have tried to come here before or commercial in nature with tractor trailers, which is not, I'm not excited about that. I know you guys aren't either. You know, my kind of thoughts is it's a really nice product. It's just extremely dense, and we don't really have all the stuff to, you know, make decisions about it. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I'm in that position. It's hard to do without, it is extremely dense, and then it's hard to do, we don't have all of the information.
I have a question for staff. Did you ask about, or did, it could be the developer or staff, about the impact to the fire department that is right there and services?
We do not have that information at the time, but we can provide that for you as well. I don't know
I
if
just
the
kind of-
applicant, no, okay.
Just kind of wondered about that as far as services, if the fire department with something like that, because there's already, like you said, a couple other apartment complexes, and then to put something high, is that going to really tax them? Are they going to need? And I just ask this because I mean, our subdivision isn't that big, and we have the fire department and the police coming in all the time for some reasons. Ma'am, Ms. Hill, if you'd like to.
Yeah, if I'm recognized. I just was going to say, we are happy to have a conversation with the fire department about the project and how best to serve it. If I'm reading the tea leaves, I'm seeing some concern about obviously moving this forward in any capacity, wanting more information, and the applicant is certainly amenable to that. We wanted to hear the commentary and also wanted to hear from the community, so you know, we're okay waiting for more information.
I just want to ask, have you guys ever gone over to that area and sat during busy time?
Yes.
Okay, because,
Because it's busy.
yes,
Yeah.
I've gotten stuck there many times at the lights, many times. It's one of those, oh, I'll tell my wife I'll be back in a few minutes with our rotisserie chicken from Sam's Club, and an hour later. So, all right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So is there a motion regarding this application? To approve, to deny, to table?
I'll make a motion to table item 24-310 until we get further information from the services as well as the school system and the city.
The city's
The
traffic
city
report.
traffic study, which should be next month.
I'll second that motion.
All right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes and the application is tabled and will be heard as soon as possible or whenever it's,
October 1st is your next planning commission meeting.
okay, will be heard October 1st. Thank you. All right. Are there any staff reports?
Not just the one where we sent the email regarding the proclamation for Mrs. Joy Bates. We would like for you all to attend on Thursday if you can. That's it.
All right. It would be, yes, greatly appreciated if we can show our support, if you can make it. I know with work requirements and stuff, it can be hard, but if you can make it. Six. And it will be one of the first items on the agenda. So, all right. If there is no other business, I motion we adjourn.